All right, everybody, how is it going? My name is Mark Harmon, and this is the Comic on Demand show. For those that don't know, the Comic on Demand show is a live drawing show where I let you decide what I draw. Right here, you will see a 4-panel comic in front of me, but as you can see, it is blank because I'm gonna let you all decide what I draw. So here's how it's gonna work. I have a couple ground rules. The first is I don't draw like celebrities or any sort of intellectual properties that already exist, like Superman or SpongeBob or whatever. The other thing is, rule number 2, I don't do any sort of, actually, along with rule number 1, also, I'm including in celebrities, I'm including sports mascots, all right? Okay. So we get that out of the way. Any sort of like character that has a name. All right, people. All right. So I just don't want any sort of weird copyright infringements or something, because I don't really know how it all works. So I just want to just steer clear of it. And so 2, I try to keep these as PG as possible and family friendly. So don't give me any suggestions of anything super raunchy or whatever. And I said there was 3, didn't I? What's the third one? I don't remember what the third one is. I think I just combined like all 4 into 2. Anyway, so here's how it's going to work. You're going to see a separate screen thing pop up with a little dancing guy on it. And then I will put the word go in the chat. Okay, so as soon as you see go from me, it'll say Comic on Demand, go. Then the first 2 suggestions that come after that, those are the suggestions I'm going to use to create this 4-panel comic, all right? So let's go ahead and get those suggestions right now. All right, we have our first 2 suggestions here. Our first suggestion is a Firefly on steroids. Didn't I already do something on steroids? Anyway, whatever, it's fine. And I also did Firefly, didn't I? Anyway, who cares? Let's do it. And then the second suggestion is Cupid Sharpening an Arrow. All right. So let's see. We have. Oh, yep. So I got to put in the suggestions here so I can remember, and so you can all remember what they are. What is it? I'll just put Firefly. Firefly on steroids. Did I spell that right? And Cupid, I'm going to do Cupid's Arrow. Okay. All right. Firefly on steroids and Cupid's Arrow. Let's do. Okay. See if I can. Usually I make this panel. That's what it's called. Usually I do the first panel as some sort of like establishing shot. But your suggestions really didn't give me a location. So now I have to sort of make a location. So let's see. You know what, let's just do a little hill. Let's go full Bob Ross on this. Let's do a little hill with some trees. Make sure I'm on camera here. Sometimes I forget Okay, and then we'll do... Okay, I don't know, can you all tell what's going on there? I don't know if you can tell what's going on, but I drew like a little bug, and see, he's shining. All right. Okay, let's do a little... Let's do a little Cupid dude here. Okay. I have this dude sharpening an arrow. So, Logan, in the chat, if you don't know, I'm assuming you've been to the Glazner's house there. On their wall, there is a picture of all of them, like, as cartoons on, like, a pirate ship. I'm the one that drew that, if you didn't know that. So there's that connection. Because in that drawing, I drew a dead chicken in a cooler. I should tell the story if I remember it, I guess. I don't know if I remember every little detail, but it wasn't the story that, I don't remember how old Evan was. He wasn't like super old, but it was like a hot day, and so he was like, oh, the chickens are hot, I need to cool them down. So he put them in the cooler. So he put a chicken in a cooler and shut the lid. and the chicken suffocated and died. Is there more to the story than that? Did I even get the story right? I don't even know if I got it right. He's saying, la-di-da, just sharpening my arrow. Okay, I'll put a little hint of a tree here and here, so we know that these are occupying the same space. You know what? I need to go Google real quick. I need to get some reference for a firefly. To make sure I know what they look like here. All right, perfect. Okay. Whoops. He asked my dad to give it mouth to mouth, but it was very dead. That is funny. See, I forgot about that part. Giving the chicken mouth to mouth. Mouth to beak. That sounds like the beginning of some kind of disease or something. Mouth and... almost like hoof and mouth disease. Be like beak and mouth disease or something. Is the desktop blurred for privacy or copyright infringement because of stock photos? Yes, that is exactly why the screen was blurred, because I don't know what I can and can't show while I'm streaming on YouTube. So just to be safe, I just blur the screen. I just err on the side of caution. Like I've seen other people stream and do Google searches, and they seem to do it just fine, but whatever, man. I just don't want to risk it. All right. He's saying, shining bright today, King. I guess he's looking in a mirror, or he's just flexing. He's just... All right. I'm going to put another word balloon right here real quick. What's everybody's plans for Valentine's? Anyone got any hot dates? My ants can lift around 5 times their own body weight. This Firefly looks like he could bench the entire anthill. That's because he's on steroids. But do not use steroids, kids. I do not endorse steroid use. Going to a game night that is sponsored by the young men in my ward. Sponsored by, so they're gonna... Are the young men putting on the games, or are they like babysitting or something? How is it being sponsored? Yep. Oh, yeah, yes to all of the above. They putting on and babysitting. Putting on the games and making the treats. Oh. You know, our ward usually does some kind of a Valentine's dinner thing, but we haven't even talked about one at all. And I'm the executive secretary, so I'm in all the bishopric meetings. And we haven't even mentioned, and bishopric meetings and ward councils, and haven't even mentioned anything about a party. So I guess we're not doing it this year. Have you ever played the game Happy Salmon? Nope. I have not. I'm not even sure I've heard of it. And herd mentality. No, I haven't heard it. Psh. I must not get out much because I haven't. Like, they sound vaguely familiar, but all right. Okay, so before I start inking this thing, here is basically the comic. We got a little firefly dude flying in the forest. He says, "La-di-da, just sharpening my arrow. That last shot was a good one." And then the firefly on steroids is saying, "Shining bright today, king." And then, ta-da, we see the arrow is in his butt. He's the one that got shot with an arrow, so he's in love with himself because he's on steroids and all that stuff. Okay, so, but before I start inking, this is the part of the show where I do a mid-suggestion. Okay, so same thing as before, except this time I just take the first suggestion, just one thing, and I will then put it like somewhere in the background or something. I'll stick it in here somewhere. Okay, so let's get that mid-suggestion right now. All right, we have our mid-suggestion of ladybugs. Okay. So I guess I'll stick a ladybug, or ladybugs, sorry, ladybugs, plural. I'll stick ladybugs in here somewhere. Okay, we'll do maybe like a rock or something. Let me erase that ground right there. Do a rock right there, and we'll do like a little flower of some kind. I'll stick a ladybug right here. Is this also the second time I've drawn a ladybug? I can't remember. This seems familiar for some reason. 17 episodes and we're all out of ideas, so. Okay, there's some ladybugs. All right. We had a question in the chat. Where did you learn to draw this well? Well, part of it. Honestly, part of it is natural. I just had a natural drawing ability. But I then took that natural ability and I went to school down in Cedar City and I got a bachelor's degree in illustration. So that also helped a lot. It helped take what I was already good at and kind of helped me focus it, or maybe harness its true potential, I guess. But art is one of those things where, like, if you wanted to go into art, you don't have to go to school for it, honestly. I know that's like, these days that sounds like a terrible thing to say to somebody, that you don't have to go to college, but at least for art you don't. Because, do you know, I've been illustrating professionally for, I don't know, like 14, 15 years, something like that. And you know how many clients have asked to see my diploma, to see my degree? 0. Nobody has ever asked to see my degree. They don't really care. They just want to see that I can draw something. And then that's what my website's for. So I send people my website, or I have an agent that I have work on her website that people look at, and basically you just have to show that you can draw. And they're like, oh, yep, you can draw. Okay, cool. We'll hire you. And that's it. But I don't recommend that if you're going to be like a doctor or something, you know. You should probably get a degree. Although these days, man, I'll bet you could probably go onto YouTube and look for like how to do heart surgery, and I'm sure there's probably a video on how to do heart surgery on YouTube. I go to YouTube for everything these days. How to change oil, how to fix a headlight, how to do some kind of plumbing or something in my house. I just go to YouTube. Although I will admit, some stuff I go to my dad first if I think that he has some kind of experience with something. But if then he doesn't know, then I go to YouTube. Because there's stuff that I know that my dad, like, I know that my dad's done this thing before. So I go to him first. But if it's something like specific to my Honda Odyssey, then I'm not going to go to my dad because he's never had a Honda Odyssey. I drew a pretty accurate rose without college university level schooling. That's pretty sweet. That's the best, seriously, the best school you can do is to just do. Especially if you like looked at a real rose and you were trying to draw it, or like a picture of a rose or something. I used to always think that artists were magic. And I'm just like, wow, how did you draw that thing so good? But then I learned in college that everybody uses reference. That all the great masters and painters and like Da Vinci and stuff, they didn't just draw from their head. They used reference. They had live models stand in while they painted them. Or they, then once photographs were invented, then they used photographs as a reference. And I remember I was kind of, in a way, I was almost kind of jaded, like I was being betrayed or something. I thought that real artists had to just draw from their heads. But then I realized if all artists just drew from their heads, everything would look like garbage. That the only way things look good is if you use reference. There was one time my kids were like, we were sort of playing a game to where they would ask me to draw something without reference first, just out of my head what I remember or think something looks like, and then I would draw with reference right next to it. And they thought it was super funny, just the vast difference of drawing with reference and not drawing with reference. They laughed at how bad stuff was. Usually while I'm inking, this is the time where I tell some kind of family secret, but I'm not really thinking of one's not coming to mind. Or at least like I'm trying to think of like a Valentine's or something, like a Valentine's secret or something, but Although I would like to know how much money I wasted in high school on girls on Valentine's Day. I'd like to know that number. Maybe I don't want to know that number, but I keep telling my boys not to do anything with or have girlfriends in high school because they're pointless. I was like, don't waste your time and money. Your worst Valentine's Day. I don't know. Like the first thing that even popped into my head was one year when we decided to do the whole send our boys a Valentine's through the school, you know, because like in the high school or whatever, if someone gets like a Valentine's delivered to the school, they then have it in the office. So like the office is flooded with all these Valentines and balloons and flowers and stuff. And it was kind of like, you know, you were really cool and special or whatever if you were one of the people that had one of those Valentines. So we were like, oh, let's do that for our boys. We'll send them a Valentine's that they can have during school. And I just remember it was going to the place that did the balloons. I remember the helium balloons were so expensive. Just for 3 helium balloons. It was so expensive. And it made me mad. And so I was like, oh, Valentine sucks. Stupid Valentine's is so expensive. So, I mean, or your worst date. See, I don't know. See, honestly, I haven't even like gone on that many dates, really. See, and I guess even like my worst date, it wasn't really even bad. It was just boring. So it's like my worst date was just dumb. And that was, well, okay. It was dumb, but also, okay. So this was my first date off my mission. And it was a blind date. So I had no idea who she was. And my friends like basically, you know, hooked it up for me. And they reassured me. I was like, okay, but like, be honest. Like, is she cute? Is she hot? And they were like, oh yeah, dude, she's hot. And I got this from multiple people. Like, okay, multiple witnesses said that this girl was hot. So I was like, all right, sweet. Well, she was at the college. And we go to her dorm and pick her up. And I did not think she was hot. Like, at all. So I hope she never sees this. I mean, I don't even quite remember her name. And she probably doesn't remember who I am either, but so that's probably for the best. so I can just sit there and tell a story. But that's it. And it was just boring. And it was mostly boring just because, like, she had got her mission call. And so the whole time she was just talking about how excited she was to go on a mission, which is fine. Like, nothing wrong with that. But it's like, this sort of like constant reassurance that this date was going to go nowhere. Not that I wanted it to anyway. But it was just weird. That's it. It was just dull. It was boring. It was a blind date. And it was a disappointment. My sister went on a date, and at 9 p.m. he said he needed to go home so she could get his car in the garage before his parents got home. She had a sweet spirit. Okay, hold on. At 9, he said he needed to go home so that he could get his... Wait, was he like not supposed to date yet or something? I don't know. Or... Oh, your sister... Oh, was your sister... So wait, so he was trying to get out of the date with your sister? So that was like his excuse to get out of the date? Is that what that was? That would be funny. He really liked his car. Okay, that is weird. Was he afraid that your sister was going to puke in the car or something? Like, all right, my car's been out too late. It's time to get this car home before anything bad happens. Those are the wings going bzzz, in case you didn't notice, in case it's unclear. Oh, I didn't draw his shiny bum. Dude's a Firefly, and he doesn't have the shiny bum. Oops, I missed those trees back there. And I missed this Firefly right here. Okay. All right, people. I think that's it. Actually, this is a short one. Whoops. Oh, geez. I just kicked the stand here. Okay. Well, there it is. There is your 4-panel comic of, was it Firefly on steroids and Cupid sharpening his arrow. So there it is. See the fireflies flying through, and the Cupid was like, hey, I gotta sharpen this arrow, and that last shot was a good one. And then the last shot was this guy on steroids, and he's in love with himself because he's on steroids. Because I guess that happens, right? That happens when you're on steroids. You love yourself. I don't know. Anyway, that's it, everybody. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming and supporting this and watching me draw and tell dumb stories. I'm this much closer to getting these things on a website so that they can be purchased and all that stuff. So, because my problem was I didn't have a scanner big enough to scan these things in, but now I found a scanner that can scan them in. So these shall soon be scanned and be ready for doing things. And I still need to, like, once my client work dries up a little bit, then I'll have time to do the t-shirt designs with like gorilla lemons and turtles on toilets and all that stuff. But anyway, thanks for showing up, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe and share. I know when you're like, apparently everybody says if you like it, it tells YouTube that it's cool and it shows it to more people. So anyway, so if you do that, that'd be cool. Anyway, thanks for showing up, everybody. You're awesome. See you next week.